In this video, we are going to learn about how can we create a Chrome extension. So right now, here you can see we have Hello World. If you look at our HTML, we just have a h1 tag with Hello World in it. So here if you look at our file structure, you can see we have index.html, script.js and a style file. To convert any of the web pages into Chrome extension, we need to create a special file called manifest.json. So manifest.json is that specific file that Chrome reads to understand what is the name and what are the permissions they need to give to this specific extension. So in this file, I'm going to paste a small snippet of code and will explain it to you. So here you can see they have a property called name, which means the name of the Chrome extension. It has a description property that explains what this extension is all about. It also has a property called version that explains the version of that Chrome extension. So right now it's starting from 1.0.0. There is a special property called manifest_version, which signifies which version of manifest you are using. So right now we are using version 2. And this is mandatory to keep it in your manifest.json file. And this is the most important part of the manifest.json, and that is what are the things that you want to override. So I want the permission to override the new tab with our index.html. So in our file structure, you can see we have our index.html. Here we are asking Chrome to override the new tab. New tab is whenever you click on plus symbol, it opens a new tab. So by default, Google Chrome loads this thing that has a Google search bar. What if I want to override this with something that I am interested in, or maybe something that I have built? We'll go ahead, save this file, and to load Chrome extension while building it, we can go into more tools and click on extensions. Here you'll find developer mode. You have to click on it. Now you can load unpacked Chrome extension. So you can click on it and go to the specific file or folder where it exists. So you can see here we have manifest.json file. Once we click on select, it will load that Chrome extension here. If we open new tab, we'll see that our page that we have created here has become a Chrome extension. So now whenever you open the new tab, you'll see a different screen. So right now it says Hello World. I know it's not of any use case, but we learned how can we convert any web page into a Chrome extension. Now we are going to create something that is useful to us. So when we are learning to program, like we learn about different tools like VS Code, Terminal, Git, and a lot of other stuff. And we want to get better at that. So today what we are going to build is an extension. Every time you open new tab, it will give you a small shortcode for VS Code. So you can just remember that and you can code faster using those shortcodes. So let's see how it will look like. Here I'll go ahead and load the finished version of the app so we can see what we are going to build. So once you reload this page, you can see this Chrome extension is called Visual Studio Code Cheat Sheet. And what it does, it loads shortcode and along with the description of that shortcode. And every time you refresh this page, you will see a different shortcode. You also have a button to do that. So now, if you open new tab, you can see, you'll always see this. So the good thing about programming is once you learn how to make something, you can solve your own problem. Like I was facing a lot of problem in terms of remembering some shortcodes for VS Code. So I created this extension. So every time I open new tab, I can see one and remember it. So here I'll walk you through how we can create this application. So the first thing we need for creating this application is a data like this that will have a huge collection of shortcuts and description. I just copied a snippet of code here that I've created. You can pause this video to understand what is happening here. And once I press enter, what will happen is we have a list of shortcuts. You can see 137 of it. So here, when you inspect this array, you'll see that there are a lot of shortcuts that has empty values. So what I want is to remove all these empty values. What we'll do is we have a variable called cheat sheet and we'll filter it. We'll say filter, and what I want to do is I'll get a cheat sheet, and each cheat sheet contains a property called shortcut, and if it is falsy I want to remove it. So for that, what I'll do, I'll try to convert this into boolean, and boolean will give me either true or false, and based on that I'll get the data. So here you can see from 137 it became 123. So all those that contain the empty value will be filtered out. So now we have this array that we can use to create this app, and you can use it for different purposes. Like if you're struggling with bash or something like that, go ahead and find a website that has those information and do a very similar thing, and you can create your own extension. In Chrome you can run this command called copy. What it does, it will copy that array in your clipboard. Now I'll go ahead, delete this one, and paste the array that we copied here, and we'll see it is very similar to that. So this is how you create your own data for whatever thing you want. So here I'll go ahead and say let data is equal to an array, and some of the time you'll see there are some extra information that you don't need. So for this one I don't need this, so I'll just delete this. Now we'll go ahead and start working on our application. So here the thing that we are doing is linking our data file, and instead of script finished, let's go ahead and link script.js. Now if we refresh it, we'll see the app is not working. So let's make it dynamic. So in script.js you can see we have variable key, description and button, in which we are selecting h2, p and button element. We have a function called generate random number, which takes a max value and generate a random number for that. So what we need to do first is let's handle this one first. Like when we click on generate button, it should just generate a new shortcut. For that, we'll do button.addEventListener of type click. And when this happens, I want to call a function called handleClick. Let's define this function. And here what I need to do is to generate a random number. And here in data, you can see we have a variable called data. So we can access that by saying data, and I want to access a random number. And to create that random number, we'll call this function generate random number. It accepts a max value, and that is going to be the length of the data. That is data.length. So it will give me a random value. I can remove this from here and define it here. We'll say let index is equal to this, or we can call it random index. So it will give me random index. I want to access that random index, and when you access that, you'll get a shortcut. So what I'll say is like let shortcut is equal to a random shortcut. So in this shortcut, we'll get access to this object that has a property shortcut and description. So from here, we have this shortcut. I want to change the value of key and description. So we'll go ahead and say key dot inner text is equal to, and we'll pass shortcut dot shortcut. So here the variable name is confusing. So what we'll do is like change this name to something like random shortcut, or just make it random shortcut. So we'll say random shortcut dot shortcut will give us the inner text for that key. Similarly, we'll go ahead and say description dot inner text is equal to random shortcut dot description. So here we are accessing a random shortcut, and using the property of shortcut and description, we are changing the value from here. And this is what happens when you click on generate. So let's reload this, click on generate, and we can see the value is changing. So every time you refresh this page, this should happen. So what I want to do, I want to call the same function, that is handleClick, every time this. So I'll just call this function handleClick outside. So now if we reload this and go into our tab, we'll see the output like this. You refresh it and you'll see a new shortcut Similarly, when you click on generate, it will generate a new shortcut for you. Open a new tab and you will see a shortcut. So in this way, what happens is you can build something that you really need for yourself and add it as an extension.